Alright guys, so for this week's performances, we'll cover the topics of rests in simple meter, and then for the melodies, we'll be doing the 2 triad, which is otherwise known as the supertonic, and it contains the solfege re, fa, la. Let's do this. The first rhythm we have is 2/4, and you can see already that it's kind of unique when compared to previous rhythmic examples, because we're actually practicing reading rests. So the first bar actually has 2 eighth notes as the first element, and then an eighth rest and an eighth note. Then the next bar has eighth rest, eighth note, eighth rest, eighth rest, eighth note, like the two versions of the combination. Then the next bar, again, same combination of elements that we previously had. And then we get to the next bar, again, eighth note, eighth rest. So a lot of the same stuff here, really. Now we're going to go into forte for the next little phrase. And look here, same stuff, eighth rest, eighth note, and then eighth note, eighth rest. So you just got to make sure you keep your rests straight, like whether they're on the beat or off the beat. And then here in measure 7, the second line, we have the quarter rest and then eighth rest, eighth note. Eighth note, eighth rest, eighth note. Now we're back to piano for the last phrase. 2 eighth notes, eighth rest, eighth note, quarter rest, eighth rest, eighth note. Oh, I skipped that measure because it's just a whole rest. And then we have quarter rest, eighth rest, eighth note, eighth note, eighth rest. And then that last eighth rest at the end there is incomplete, right? It needs to have another eighth note beat somehow, and that's because that's the pickup. So the very beginning of the exercise is the rest of that measure. All right, let us perform this one. Set our metronomes to 125.
T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T.
Next example we have incorporates 16th notes and various combinations using rests or ties. So this one is 4/4, meaning that our measures are going to divide 2 beats plus 2 beats. So the first 2 beats of measure 1 are eighth note, 2/16, and then a 16th rest followed by 3/16. And then the next half bar is the eighth rest, eighth note plus a quarter note. Bar 2, this is pretty tricky. It's a syncopated 16th note pattern tied to 2/16 and an eighth. So that's going to be tiki, ki, ki, ti. So I tied that middle section there. Tiki, tiki, ki, ki, ti. That's going to be tricky, so I recommend you practice that a few times. Then we have a quarter rest and a quarter note. We're going to go into mezzo piano from forte. And then here you see 4/16, 2/16 plus an eighth rest. And this is another tricky looking spot. Eighth rest, 2/16 tied to 2/16, 16th rest, 16th note. So that's rest, tiki, ki, ki. Rest, tiki, ki, ki. That's another one I recommend you practice a few times. Next bar, we have 4/16 tied to a 16th note syncopated. Tiki, tiki, ki, ki. Tiki, tiki, ki, ki. Okay? Practice that one. Then we have a quarter note and a quarter rest. Next bar, oh, looks like it gets much easier from here. We have a forte dynamic, dotted quarter, eighth note. Next one is a quarter rest, quarter note, super easy. All right, this one is a little weird, but it's not too hard. It's like a syncopated eighth note, quarter note pattern, but the last eighth note of that is turned into 2/16 notes. Okay, that's not too challenging for you guys. Then we got eighth rest, eighth note, quarter note, no problem. Quarter rest, quarter note, no problem. We're going to mezzo piano there, and now we're going to crescendo towards the end. 2/8, 2/16, and an eighth, no problem. And then we have 16th rest, 3/16 tied to 2/16 and an eighth. Ooh, just at the end they try to get us. So we're crescendoing by this point. We're almost at forte, and we're gonna go rest, ki ti ki ki ti. All right, so that rest takes care of the T syllable. The second 16th note there is going to be ki. So I start on ki. So rest, 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 ki, ti, ta. All right. So this one's going to require a little bit of practice, but it's not impossible. Let's set our metronomes to 66 and try it out.
Ta, ti, tiki, ki, tiki. Ti ta, tiki ki ki ti, ta, tiki tiki tiki, tiki ki ki tiki 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 ta, ta ti ta tiki ti ta, ta ti tiki ti ki tiki ki ti ta.
Okay, now we're getting into the melodic portion, and for this etude, I have again broken it down into segments. The first 4 notes are an outline of a tonic triad in E flat major. Do, mi, sol, mi. And then you see here a 2 triad. Re, fa, la, fa. The next 2 notes are outlining tonic triad notes, mi, sol. Now why do I say it outlines tonic triad notes? Because if I played those 2 notes in a melody in the same measure, that would imply that an E flat is my bass. Mi, sol. Next 2 notes imply a dominant 7th, re, fa. Again, those 2 notes don't make up an entire dominant 7th chord, but they imply that underneath it is going to be a B flat. And then the next 2 notes, mi, do, tonic triad. And then the ending, fa, sol, do, is a cadential pattern. Okay, let's try this one.
Do, mi, sol, mi, re, fa, la, fa, mi, sol, re, fa, mi, do, fa, sol, do.
Okay, so here we are with the melody, the first of the melodies. And you can see we're in the bass clef with 1 sharp, and that is going to be G major, and we're in 6/8. All right, so I'm going to mark off the phrases. Here's our first one. Now let's analyze it a little bit. We got to pick up 8th note first of all. Sol, sol, do, mi, sol, 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 fa, mi, re. Okay, so what do we have? We have in the beginning a tonic triad arpeggio from sol up to sol. Sol, 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 do, mi, sol, sol, sol. And then we have a scale down to re. Sol, fa, mi, re. Second phrase. Fa, mi, do, sol, fa, re, la, do, ti. All right, so this one is a little tricky. Starting from fa, we do mi, do, sol, which is a tonic triad, and then same little pattern but up a step. Re, fa, la, that's your 2 triad, and then it goes down to do from there. Okay, so that's a little tricky spot there. Practice that one. And then we got here the same thing as the beginning, so I won't go over that again. But the ending this time is a little different. Now it goes fa, fa, mi, do, mi, re, ti, re, do. All right, let's sing a G major scale and get into it. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's my baby. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Papa.
Okay.
Papa. Papa. Papa.
Sol, sol, do, mi, sol, 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 fa, mi, do, sol, fa, re, la, do, ti. Sol, sol, do, mi, sol, 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 fa, mi, do, mi, re, ti, re, do.
Woo! Last melody, you guys. I'm going to have to rush through this because my baby's trying to get my attention. You might hear his voice every now and then. We're in D flat major. And so the first thing that's happening is a scale, we're in 6/8 again, a scale going down and then up. Do, ti, la, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, re. Then we have the same thing. Okay, then we have this thing. Mi, do, la, la, fa, re. So there's your 2 chord right there. Mi, do, la. Up an octave. La, fa, re. Okay, then we're going to come to our ending. Sol, 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 mi, do. Tonic triad. Sol, mi. There's a nice, beautiful 6th from sol to mi. Sol, mi, re, do. Let's sing a D flat major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, 60 beats per minute, and let's do this.
Do, ti, la, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, re. Do, ti, la, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, re. Mi, do, la, fa, re. Sol, 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 mi, do, re, do.